Hello, loves. So today I wanted to have a discourse and a chat and channel session about hope. And I want to talk about the light and accepted and well-known sides of hope, as well as the shadow side of hope and the deceiving and the spiritual bypassing that can sometimes happen using the word or energy or frequency of hope. So if you are new here, welcome. My name is Danielle, #DAMCL at these enlightened edits of DAMCLdesigns.com. And in these chat and channel sessions, my guides, or in some cases, some of you, present me with a topic, and we have a stream of consciousness channeling about it. So feel free to interact with me and others by chatting in the comments. Your thoughts, as long as they are shared respectfully, are very, very welcome. And so today, let's break down hope. I personally found in my journey that I was using hope in the wrong way. And recently, I had an experience with the goddess Elpis through a painting from a friend of mine, Miss Claudia Olivos of olivosartstudio.com. I will be sharing links to that as well in the description somewhere, and you can see the piece here. And I had this experience with Elpis and this experience with hope in quite a different way, which sparked this channeling session. So previous to this experience and previous to so much of the healing work that I've done that got me to that experience and this point, my relationship with hope, I would consider negative for the most part. I mean, from the outside, I think it was publicly accepted, and I kept trying to tell myself that I was hoping the right way. However, looking back from a more healed standpoint, I am able to recognize that I was hoping out of a state of victimhood. And even when others around me would say they hoped for me, because of the way I grew up, I would internalize that as a projection of the way that those I grew up with hoped for me. So, not to call anyone out specifically or shade anyone, but I want to share this because others of you, especially fellow empaths and light workers and highly sensitive people, may have had this experience where you grew up with people who either spiritually bypassed you or used hope as a reason to keep going, but while still simultaneously continuing the negative thing that you're saying in verbiage that you're hoping will end. So I know that can sound kind of cryptic, but to give a physical example, I had a lot of ailments in my life, and recently I had a chat and channel session breaking down some aspects of the wounded healer, courtesy of the example of Princess Diana. So you can check that out in the previous chat and channel sessions playlist. But I would get a lot of people, especially people in my family, who would say, "Oh, hope you're feeling better," but not really believing that, not really putting the belief behind the hope, or being very, very comfortable with the sick version of me, and in some ways almost hoping that that would continue in some way because of the comfortability of keeping me in the sick girl box. Now, in saying that, I don't believe any of that was really intentionally done. A couple of people maybe intentionally did it, but most of the time it was subconsciously done. And that's why I share it, because I think so many people are subconsciously annihilating their hope while using the verbiage of hope and this idea of hope. And I think it's why so many people end up in despair or end up continuing cycles where hope isn't serving them or anybody else that they're supposedly hoping for. And so I've strategically tried to recognize and use the word hope less, not hopeless, the complete word, but use the word less, because I want to make sure that when I am doing that, I am putting the belief or the prayer or the positive intention behind it, while also finding that balance of giving it up to universe, God, goddess, source, whatever version of deity or higher power you believe in. I find that so important, and I know it can feel like a lot. It can feel like a lot to do and think about and intend, but it is energy work. And so if we're going to go about the procedure of saying that we hope, whether it's for ourselves or someone else, I think we need to realize we're taking on that responsibility of doing energy work. You know, it's the same thing as when someone says they'll pray for you. Well, they actually have to set aside time and energy to pray for you to make it mean anything. And I think our society and our culture at large has become so comfortable with being politically correct, and being politically correct has become aligned with being kind, even if that kindness is fake or manipulated. It's the same kind of thing as saying thank you. You know, it's just a knee-jerk reaction, and sometimes we forget to put that thankfulness behind it or actually mean it. It's a practice. All of this is a mindfulness practice for a reason. And as more awakening and mindfulness and kindness and spiritual awareness things become relevant and become accepted in society and popular culture, I think we need to understand, to know how to take that energy back. And I say that because sometimes when things get publicly accepted in culture, they get very diluted and they become an automated response. And automated responses rarely have magic in them, rarely have healing in them, rarely have intent in them. And we need to be able to take that intent and that magic and that power and that actual hope back. And so what I would like you to do as a result of listening to this and sharing it, if you would be so kind, is take some time to recognize. You don't have to change anything about yourself. You don't have to chastise yourself or others. Please be kind to others. But just take some time to recognize how you use the word hope. And take that time to recognize it could be an hour, it can be a week, it can be hopefully at least a day. But the more time you can set aside to do that, the better, in my opinion. Whatever feels relevant for you, obviously. But take some time, and without trying to change how you use it at first, just see how you use it. Recognize how you use it. Make mental notes, or if you feel comfortable, journaling about it, and just, or if you journal already, add a part to your journal that says, oh, I used the word hope today. I don't think I meant it. Or I said I hoped, but I really didn't believe it. Or I said it just to be kind to someone else, but I actually don't know what I hope for them. And just be honest with yourself about that. You don't have to show this journaling to anyone. You don't have to talk about this to anyone, but just be honest and kind within yourself and as non-judgmental as possible, so that you know where your set point is currently. And then when you know where that set point is, then you can start to trace back, well, where do some of those beliefs come from around hope? And for some people, it will be your childhood. It will be how people hoped in front of you or for you when you were little and illustrated that example. For some, it will also be your religious institutions and the religious practices that you grew up with. You know, do you feel the proper intention behind religious people's hope? Or do you feel like they're doing it to try to illustrate their faith rather than live their faith? And while, you know, I say that carefully because I especially don't want to project judgment on anyone, I have personally experienced that. I have experienced religious people who share hope from a vantage point of sort of pretentiousness, and out of that's what they're supposed to do, and out of that spiritual bypassing where it's almost like if you don't hope, or if you don't automatically have hope or gratefulness, right? Because in this instance, it could be interchangeable, then you don't really trust God and you don't really respect God, and therefore nothing good's going to happen to you. And I really, really dislike that, because in my experience, you have to feel the feelings to heal the feelings. And if we're just going to bypass them, we're going to push them down, we're going to suppress them. And those are things that turn to illness eventually, or other negative manifested experiences in our life. Again, in my experience, because of this push to bypass them in light of the idea of hoping. And in my experience, as someone with a lot of spiritual connection and channeling higher power, which I am, blessed to do, and don't say it pretentiously, and don't say it lightly, but also as someone who has played in a lot of different modalities and fields of manifesting and mindfulness, I can tell you that sometimes that act of hoping can get you trapped and can get you cycled in just holding on to hope and never moving past that into the belief that you can actually receive the things that you are hoping for. And I think it's because of this idea of hope, this idea that hope can be this get out of jail free card or this free pass. And I don't think it was ever meant to be that. Recently, at the time of this recording, but of course this is timeless, so it's relevant whenever you're listening to it, but we had the passing of Olivia Newton-John, and I've really been inspired in exploring more of her legacy, in her idea of hope. She, from what I've seen, right, she has never used hope to bypass the pain that she went through as a cancer. I mean, I think it would be inappropriate to use the word survivor at this moment because of her passing, but she was a survivor for over 30 years, which was really unprecedented with the metastases that she had, from my research. And I, in looking at her example, have continuously seen her hope shine through in a way that was not trying to say that pain didn't exist because hope existed. And I believe that she lived so many years off of that hope and off of decisions that she made, to stay alive and to be alive, to do things that she wanted to do and be there for her daughter or her family or, her community or her element of research, which she has a wonderful charity. I will link it. Please check it out. Again, at the time of this recording, I'm also currently donating some of the proceeds from my SaRa breast cancer campaign to her charity. That may change. I don't know when you're listening to this, but I will do my best to update that information as well. And all of those things will be linked. Not that this is pressure to buy something from me. I just want to share the links so you know where to find them if you so choose. But I find it really inspiring. And so all of these things came into my awareness at a similar time, and at a similar time to my experience with Elpis. And that experience I had with Elpis is very personal, so I'm not going to be sharing publicly the experience of that. However, I am sharing the painting from my friend Claudia Olivos with you in hopes that it will inspire perhaps an experience of your own, a new way or perspective of looking at hope. I encourage you, if any of the Olivia Newton-John talk has been inspiring to you, go check out her speaking on some of her beliefs. I have another video as well with her speaking about how she believed thoughts create reality, which is something I very much believe and live by. And it's also why I wanted to share this, because that thought of hope, I think, has become so jaded and so misused throughout the years, and throughout our ideas and our perceptions of what it was meant to be and could be. And I would like to see us take that word back in a way that leaves the spiritual bypassing behind, that is willing to investigate what it is. I think hope will become different for each person. And I think as more people come in line and in tune with their truth and their integrity and their empath sensitivities, we're going to start feeling people's intentions behind hope more freely. And this is not to say judge them or chastise them if they're using hope, in a lackluster way or a limiting or victim-based way, but it is to say you do not have to accept that energy. So I want to be really clear about that, because you do not have to accept the hoping of others if they are hoping for you in a way that is trying to put you in a box of circumstance or victimhood or pity, right? So some people do that and hope for others in a well-intentioned way and have pity for others in the place of where empathy would be, or have sympathy for others in the place where empathy should be. And so this comes just from their personal experience, from their own wounding, sometimes from their own limited consciousness or perception, although nobody is better than anybody else. We're just all on different journeys. But people can do this where they hope for others, and you feel that energy come at you of pity, and where they're hoping for you in a way where they don't really believe it, or they hope the best for you while assuming the worst. And all of that can come through energetically or subconsciously. And so what I'd like you to do, if you're going through a hard time ever in life, which we all have cycles of, and you have that experience where somebody else appears to be hoping for you or tells you that they're hoping for you, and it feels sticky, or it feels underlying, or just you can't bring it to yourself to trust it, I want you to trust that feeling. And I want you to energetically just push that energy back to them, and energetically just say, thank you very much, but I don't need that energy, because you know that they're not sending it currently. That may change, but you know that they're not currently sending it from a place where that hope is well-intentioned and pure and going to do you any good. And so I want you to know, no matter how hard of a place you're in, and no matter how much you feel like you need other people's prayers or intentions or hope, and while receiving of those things can be good, I want you to know that you always have the ability to discern and say no thank you to energies that aren't for you, that are going to cloud the system, that may drain you or drag you down. I want you to trust that, and I want you to also trust in the limitless positive abundance of the universe, because there can be abundance of anything, good or bad. And I want you to trust in the limitless positive abundance of the universe that wants to provide for you and will provide for you a positive channel in the place of the one that you may be pushing away or setting boundaries with. And this doesn't mean that you have to kick those people out of your life. It doesn't even mean that you have to bring it to their awareness. I know that's a really big draw, for us to want to share what we've discovered and what we're learning and say, oh, I don't think you're hoping for me in the right way. I want you to recognize that the needing to share that with people who are not ready to learn it or receive it can also come from a wounded place within you. And so also use your discernment if there are people in your life who are ready to receive this message and learn and grow with you in terms of having more well-intentioned hope, and those who are just going through their own things right now and are on their own journey and are really not ready to learn or receive that. And know that it's not your job to teach them. It's really just your job to take care of you and to take care of your energy and to have your soul sovereignty and this power to say thank you, but no thank you, and push that energy back to them with love, and then open up that space to receive more well-intentioned light and hope from the universe in whatever other person or way it would like to send it to you. And with that, I am going to close this chat and channel session, I'm going to direct you to those links in the description. I'm also going to, of course, invite you. Let's keep the conversation going, the channeling going, if you like and so choose. I'm closing the channeling session here simply because it feels at its peak. It feels at its most potent, at its most powerful, and I would like you to continue to explore. So what I would invite you to do is either stop after this listening and get out a journal and see what else wants to come through for you in light of this new perspective on hope. Of course, after you take your day or your week or however long to see how you're using the word hope with the non-judgment, I also invite you to take that to another level and see how you can use it with more positive and pure intentions. I invite you to use this tool and technique of only receiving hope that actually benefits you. And if you feel so inclined and you receive positive results from that, I would love for you to share that with others in the comments so that those who may be going through a hard time and want to give this out a try but not necessarily have the energy or think they have the energy can read those comments and be uplifted and take the chance in giving it a try. And so I really would love and appreciate any of those comments or any that you feel are ready to receive this message, if you would share it with them and like this if you have liked it and it's resonated with you. All of that would be such a blessing to me and a blessing to everyone that the algorithm can share it with. I really appreciate you for being here. If you would like to explore with me more, you can check out my website, DAMCL Designs, DAMCL Designs.com, where I offer quantum sessions, Akashic Records readings, mini readings, energy art, enlightened merch, and so much more. If you would like to take this to another level beyond session work, you can also use the contact for consult link that is there, and through that form you can get in touch with me and we can set up a consultation to see if we are a good fit to do deep works together beyond session work and see if we are right to build a quantum energy healing or consciousness life and coaching package for you. If this or my other free works have helped you and you feel called and drawn and able, absolutely no pressure, but energy appreciation donations are always accepted through paypal.me/thesenlightenededits or the donate links in the description. Those donations of any and all amounts are always so appreciated to keep my free channelings and public works going. But whether you donate or not, whether you participate in any of my workings or not, even if you're not a follower or subscriber or I ever see you again, I am so personally thankful, and I feel that spirit is thankful for you being here, for you participating in this channeling session, however you participated, listened, and for this ability that can now spread hopefully within you or any of those that you choose to spread that light with, in utilizing this message to spread hope in a more positively and purely intentioned way, in a way that serves us and does not detract from us, and in a way that actually gets us to the things we are hoping for, rather than keep us stuck in that hamster wheel cycle of manifesting or hoping for them. And with that, I really am going to close. I am sending you love, light, and light codes. Thank you for being here. Love, Danielle. #Damsel at These Enlightened Edits of DAMCLdesigns.com.